All crypto all the time.
All crypto all the time. Jersey Tony, we're recording. Don't take advice from Jersey Tony
I
on
wouldn't if you
crypto.
want to succeed. No, if you want to succeed, don't take advice from me.
You took out a home equity loan on the house and put it all in Dogecoin. And
Oh man, and my kids don't have a college fund anymore. Yeah.
you know, by the time this airs, though, Elon Musk will have been on Saturday Night Live. Who knows? Your kids may be going to Ivy League, or they may be going to.
Right down the road in community college.
I was going to say Bayside High.
They
Zach
said hi.
Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Jersey Tony, this is real honor, pleasure.
All on this end, my friend. You kidding me?
Notice you for those watching the video, we got the matching Whoop and Garmin. So that's just one of the many ways we've bonded over the
yeah,
last.
but I purchased both of mine. I want you to know.
You know what? That Dogecoin money, you're going to be able to buy multiple Whoops. It's all good.
Yeah.
Before we dive into who exactly you are, because some of the listeners will recognize the name Jersey Tony as you are a regular, consistent face in our coaches development group, but some people don't know you. We'll get to that. Tell me why you like the Whoop, because I'm enjoying it, but I got to be honest, and Whoop supports CrossFit, and I'm a supporter of Whoop. Is it worth $30 a month? Like, for me, here's what I'm taking from it. I don't work out hard enough, so my strain is never super high. I'm embarrassed that I'm getting a decent night's sleep with a newborn in the house.
Have so many God, yeah.
And then a couple of my late night habits impact my sleep a little bit, i.e., here I do live in Colorado. It's easy to get your hands on some, melatonin mixed with some other things. And that impacts my sleep. But other than that, it's like, okay, this is nothing new. I knew that I don't work out very hard, and I knew I need a good 12 or 13 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
what are your questions? What do you got for me?
One, I'm definitely, for the listeners out there, I can definitely attest to the fact that Jason doesn't do any of what he just said. Yeah, he doesn't work out hard enough. He's always consistently at the bottom of our strain group for the coaches development Whoop.
I keep moving on recovery, not strain.
No. Oh, recovery, you're amazing. Your sleep is amazing. You crush sleep, by the way, and your recovery is always, you live in the green. Yeah, your strain is typically around a 5 on a daily basis.
Is that a 5 out of 5?
Oh yeah, 5 out of 5. No, about a 5 out of 20 for people that don't know what Whoop's all about. But yeah, I just listen. I've always getting into now CrossFit and getting into all the rabbit holes that we can get down. I mean, from what we were just talking about, but data, I love it, and it provides a whole ton of it from a health perspective, from an oxygen perspective, from a heart rate perspective. I mean, I just love it because I've heard people say this. It helps keep you accountable. And I need accountability in my life.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why you're here, my friend. And
I agree. And that's kind of my point. I feel like it's a sleep accountability band. If they just promoted it as this, hey, throw this thing on your wrist, get a couple groups going with your buddies. I'm in best hour and I'm in the box here, Raw Sync Week, and see who sleeps best. That's really what it's all about. I mean, and like I said, it definitely makes me think about getting to bed earlier. Things like, hey, let's stop eating at 8 o'clock versus 10 o'clock right before you go to bed. Like, did you get some stretching in, a sauna session? But I also think there's a downfall in that some people, maybe you, maybe other people you coach, it'll impact. So I've not taken a rest day in like 2 weeks, and I'm really? Just testing. Yeah, but are you saying that because you see my strain?
I see it. I'm just kidding.
So no, but it's been maybe 10 days, and I'm kind of just testing myself with, rather than going super hard every day. Not that I did. I mean, I'm doing one CrossFit workout a day. Once or twice a week, I'll either take the workout that we're supposed to hit and kind of make it a little slower and longer. I did I'll do a lot of 30-minute or 10 rounders that take about 30 minutes, where I'm not really trying to push too hard, but every day just getting like rather than being stressed that I can't train as much as I want on the days I want because of the baby, let's do 30 to 40 minutes every day. And I feel good from it. But my point is, how am I so recovered with that? And what I was getting at is some people will look at the data and say, man, I feel good, but I'm not recovered. I shouldn't work out today. Or I'm tired, but it's a peak day. I need to go hard. I think there's things like that need to be explored in the Whoop.
I agree with you, and they keep adding a lot of journal questions, and I think that all of that helps or will help with figuring that stuff out. If you have a dog sleeping in your room, or you just recently added the macros. So I mean, a lot of, I just love it because it gets to know you. But to your point, I try my best not to let the green, yellow, or red affect what my training day is going to be like, because there'll be days I just wake up and I feel awesome and it says I'm in the red. I mean, and there's
I'm interested in those journal questions. You're talking about the sleep one. So you wake up and then it said, and by the way, the other night my sleep didn't get to, it said I went to bed at like 2 a.m, but that wasn't true. So I had to go in and edit it.
Yep. I mean, I am, you and I are very close in age, and I'm old.
How old are you?
I'll be 40 in November. Yeah.
That's why you're making such a big push for the games. You're aging up.
I age up, yeah. But I have to pee every night because I drink I mean, I drink tons of water, coffee. I don't drink alcohol or anything like that, but I'm filling up on just water, over 100 ounces a day, easy, plus coffee. So every night. I can't even remember the last. I mean, that's probably. My wife tells me I got to go check that out. But
no, my wife says the same, and she knows how much. I mean, I drink 1.5 gallons a day.
Yeah.
One tip I'll give for you and the listeners is you have to have a taper time.
I know.
So the nights I coach, which is really just one night a week, I drink a lot during those, and I find I'm peeing a lot. I mean, since college, 2 or 3 times a night, easily, and I just think that's normal. I will say. And I can say this because my wife doesn't listen to the podcast. I'm sleeping a lot better. We're sleeping in separate bedrooms because of the baby.
Yeah.
My sleep is through. That's part of she's like, okay, like the baby's sleeping through the night or getting there. I'm going to come back to the bedroom. Like, you sure you want to do that? Like, have you seen my green recovery? Like, I don't know that I want to give that up.
I don't want to mess this up.
On a similar note, right now with the programming we're following, there's some percentage work on strength days. And I was telling my class on Monday, the reason I don't love percentage work is the same thing. Like, you're coming in here, I don't know if you're tired, and I don't know if you're fresh. I also don't know if you're brand new. So if I tell you, hey, you're going to deadlift at 80% and you're feeling crappy today, that's going to be really hard. Now, if I tell you you're deadlifting at 80% and it's a day you feel amazing and you could have went heavier, I'm holding you back. And I might have a new person who's been here for a month. Her percentage is not the same based on a 5-rep heavy a week ago that it is for someone like you and I who've been doing this thing for quite some time. So point is, I think data, there's a place, a time for data. That's why we fell in love with CrossFit, right? It wasn't, hey, drop the pin down another, 15 pounds or whatever. It was 3, 3, 2, 1, go, measurable, observable, repeatable. Tell me about that. As like I said earlier, you're a huge part of our coaches development group. I started that coaches development group, I think. When did I start that? September, October?
Yeah, I want to say Q4 of
Q4.
last year.
It was part of the best hour of their day, Q4 earnings. But honestly, at first I was just like, okay, figuring out what to do. I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. Like, I'm not going to get a real job like Tony has. Shout out iHeartRadio. That you could, maybe someone's listening to this on iHeartRadio. We have one iHeartRadio listener. I think it's your mom. Actually,
it's me. It's me. Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're earning anything on that. Do we get like 7 cents a download?
Who knows? That's back office, as we say. I don't handle that. I'm
so
front office. Yeah,
you're front. So, we started the group, and it was really just I started to just want to get to more coaching. The pandemic was happening. I wasn't out there. I wasn't traveling. Started this group and probably had like 20 or 30, and you and Christian and Anasan and many others. And Sim, can't forget Federico.
Yeah.
Um, you just kind of became a part of my life, and I've gotten to know you guys, especially those that have stuck with it all this time. So I do want to talk about that because
Yeah.
we have a lot of listeners like you, like, hey, I have a real job. I've got 3 kids, and I fell in love with this coaching thing and I want to get better at it, but it's how do I get better at it? Where do I find the time to get better at it? Why do I want to get better? Like, what benefit is it other than for you as a coach? Like, most of the time it's like I'm not getting a pay raise just because I'm getting better. So,
Hmm.
first question,
Yeah.
how did you even stumble upon CrossFit?
How did I stumble upon? Wow, I mean that's a rabbit hole right there. I was actually working for iHeart. I've been working for iHeart now. This will be year 18.
You've been with that's like your employee like 4.
Yeah, right. I wish. We were previously known as Clear Channel.
Oh, you were.
Um,
So I did
yeah,
advertisement Clear Channel with my boxes.
yeah. In
Radio.
Albany, you
Yeah.
probably did it on Kiss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brian Cody?
Nate, let me see. Let me see.
Brian Cody was like the main morning DJ.
Jim
And
Cody, and
I don't know if
not
he's
there.
still with them,
Yeah,
but
I mean, it could be under a different name, but yeah, I mean, I've been with the company now a long time. It's my passion. I love doing it. I'm in sales.
iHeartRadio is your passion?
I, yes, I hate to break the news to you. I love what I do. I'm happy to wake up every morning and do what I do. And
Did
yes,
you?
they pay me on the 15th and 30th,
Oh,
so it's
that's
good.
nice. And you
Yeah, it's
probably get
very nice.
health insurance and all that good stuff, and your
Yeah, all that
wife
good
as
stuff.
well.
All
So
that good stuff. Yeah,
did did you
but I
work?
didn't. I didn't even answer your question.
No, no, well,
Yeah,
mostly because I interrupted you. Did
yeah.
you did you work from home pre-pandemic?
No. Pre-pandemic, I would commute in. I've always been a commuter. I live, as the listeners do know, I live in Jersey. I'm Jersey Tony, and our office is based in Midtown Manhattan. I've always been a commuter.
So
I've
you
never been.
were doing the back and forth to Midtown.
Yep, to Midtown
How far was
every
that
day.
every day, or how long?
Door to door, it's 2 hours each way.
Oh,
And
you commuted. So
yeah,
the pandemic has been somewhat of a blessing.
it's the best thing that's ever happened to my family. I mean, when I have that
But
conversation with people, it's wholeheartedly the truth, because I preface that I want to make sure that everyone's okay when I have that
yeah,
conversation
of
with people,
course,
like, of
yes.
course. But it's been the best thing that's ever happened to us,
And you've had
because
some other personal things because of that. We don't have to
yeah.
get into
No, I
it.
mean,
Not that
I'm
we
an
don't.
yeah.
It more so because it's boring.
Yeah.
More so
Yeah,
because
no,
it's
true.
boring. Not that it's
True.
personal.
Yeah.
But man,
100%.
when I graduated college from Albany, a bunch of my friends, moved back. It was like the economic boom. They were like,
Mhm.
I talked about it. I was super jealous. I was making $8 an hour at Gold's Gym. They're making 6 figures. I'm on a spin bike coaching, old women,
Mhm.
but they're sitting at a desk. And I reminded myself every day, like, this is better. And here it took 20 years to really get there where like now my friends are A, old and out of shape, asking me for advice, and B, financially, I'm doing better, So it's a big part of sticking to like
Yeah.
your plan.
Yeah.
But when they moved back, they were all doing that same commute. And I was like, that my commute was 12 minutes, from my house to the gym. I go back and forth throughout the day. What's that like? Like, how many you do that for almost 18 years?
There was a time when my wife and I lived, for people that aren't familiar with Jersey, Hoboken, New Jersey,
Oh,
and
look at
Jersey
you.
City.
No need to
Yeah.
brag living in Hoboken.
Oh, well, it's
Artie
not.
Lang, Artie
It's
Lang from
not. It's
Hoboken?
yeah, exactly. Oh, Artie Lang. Side note: Artie Lang went to Union High School, and went to Union High School as well. So I do know of Artie Lang and the mystique behind him. He's hilarious. Anyway, uh, I lived there with my wife, girlfriend at the time, for a yearish. So for the majority of my time with iHeart, I've always been commuting. I'm just a burbs guy. I love it. I've never been a city
Cheaper.
guy. Yeah,
Cheaper too, right?
it's cheaper. Yeah, but I'm just I don't need the city. I mean, some people love it. I love working there. I just don't love living there. But that's just me. But yeah, I mean, with CrossFit, I was doing it 5 years ago. I started about, dabbling and um, doing, learning, trying to be good at it. Wasn't good at it, obviously. And then with pandemic happening, prior to, I wanted to become a coach because of just my knowledge. I wanted to learn about it, what I do. I like understanding things that I do, movements that I do, and eh, I like helping people. I'm a people guy,
You are
and
a people guy. I'll give it.
I
You
I,
are a people guy.
I try. I try. I
You
mean,
know
people look at
why you and me and Christian and those guys, and I love everybody in the group. So,
everyone.
I
Yeah,
mean, one, you guys were a little more vocal, but two, I've said this to you. I won't say it to Christian because Christian's an acquaintance.
yeah, yeah.
But I think sometimes you just click, and it's more like our age. Like Christian's young; he's only 28.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah.
But when you can bust when you have men that you can bust each other's balls in a fun, friendly, like
Hmm.
no ego way,
No.
and I give it to you, you give it to me, as is everybody in the group. But it's like I try to explain this to people, like why I don't get offended. eh, Nor do you, at least
No,
unless
no,
you're
I
like
don't.
kicking the
No.
dog after our
Yeah,
coaches
I
calls.
cry. I cry in the corner. Yeah.
But I think when you grow up, for me, wrestling and also in the Northeast, like it's tough.
Mhm.
Like it's harder than like the pretty boys growing up in California and Florida, the warm weather. So I think you get a little hardened. And like you grow up wrestling locker room, it's like
Yeah.
your best friends are the hardest on you. Like not
Oh,
just
as they should. As
physically,
they
right,
should. Yeah.
physically, and then like people, like I told the story how I didn't realize I was small, and it's just like you're so used to getting called short, and it's like it doesn't phase you. And I think that's
Yeah.
why we've connected as well as many of the other people. It's just it's a boys club, but there's some girls on there that give it back just as much.
Oh, 100%. And I love the
Christina's
fact.
great
Yeah.
now,
I,
Nicole.
I I love the fact that our group, as I make reference of anytime someone new joins, it's our band of misfit toys in the corner
Yeah, I
that
saw you post
yeah,
that recently.
yeah. And it's just a fun group. But yeah, so I've been doing that the majority of my life, and I've
What
been
do you
competing.
do 2 hours each way?
Well, prior to the pandemic, and as Jason has made mention earlier, I have 3 kids, and it was called Tony Pino time, and I would just sleep because I don't sleep at all. I have something on my wrist, Whoop, that tells me I never get enough sleep,
Don't.
and I don't. But I love what I do. I wouldn't change it. I get to spend. I mean, I do. Last night, I got choked out by my son in
Oh yeah, you're
jujitsu.
doing jujitsu now.
Yeah, I'm doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I thought I was in shape, dude. Let me tell you, there's a different type of shape when somebody's trying to choke you out for 3 minutes and you're rolling with them. It's absurd.
Well,
Anyway,
I,
yeah.
I I would like to tell people, the difference in jujitsu and CrossFit is
Hmm.
in CrossFit, you decide when to stop, right?
Yeah,
In
you do.
jujitsu, you might be like, I don't want to do anymore, but the guy that's trying to choke you doesn't care.
He does not
And
care.
you're not gonna, I mean, you may at first as a white belt, but once you get to like a blue belt and purple belt, like you can't tap to nonsense. Like you can, there's no ego involved in jujitsu. But if you're just getting manhandled by someone and you tap, like I'm gonna make fun of you. Like that's how we are.
I have no shame in tapping. I've learned that real early.
No,
No,
tapping,
yeah,
you have to, but
yeah,
there's an expression, tap to pressure. So, for example, you're on your back and I got my knee in your belly,
hmm,
right? Nothing
yes.
bad is going to happen to you. You're just being a baby if you tap.
It hurts.
Yes,
No,
exactly. It hurts, and that's it. But the point is, like, you don't tap to that. You figure out
no,
how do I get
yeah.
out of this? So you don't get to choose. Like Fran, yes, it sucks, but if I want to put the bar down, guess what I'm going to do?
Put the
Put the
bar
bar
down.
down.
Yeah.
So going back to your commute, I know we're
Hmm.
still on this, but 4 hours. I guess you can only get 4 hours of sleep during the night if you're getting 4 hours on the the what are you taking, the not the LIRR? What are you taking?
No, New Jersey Transit, but
Yeah.
I mean, again, like we've gone a long way with the pandemic question. I mean, I've been able to now do more. Pick up this passion of coaching, learn about coaches development with you and everyone else in the group, and it allows me to better utilize my time uh, that I do have. I mean, it's not a lot of it. Don't get me wrong. So instead of having 4 hours of commute, I'm training, I'm listening to your podcast, I'm listening to other podcasts about coaching, about wanting to be better in this community and have the right mindset from that, and have other like-minded people that are in our group and that just want to help other people, which is amazing.
So get back to the original question.
Hmm.
When was the first time you walked into the doors of CrossFit?
First time I walked into the doors of CrossFit was right outside of uh, where was it? Outside of Philly, and I was working in Ballackinwood at the time for iHeart in the Philly office, and it was CrossFit Ballackinwood, is it? Because they were a part of a gym, so they had their own section, very similar to an Albany story. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't we didn't have they did have racquetball courts, but this was out of the basketball area, and I could barely squat. I could barely string, and I thought I was in awesome shape. Fitness has always been a part of my life, uh, sports, all that fun stuff. But you go into CrossFit and you think you can easily do jump rope. I could jump rope, and then try and do a double under, and you are leaving with a mark that's the size of
Yeah.
a 7-foot rope across your back, or you're seeing somebody that you perceive that isn't as strong as you do way more weight, get to better depth, do more pull-ups, and lap you on a run, and you're like, what the f just happened? And you're looking around, and I fell in love with it because it's all about building your engine, and it just grew from there. Other boxes that I've been a part of, one currently that I'm at, Apache in Toms River, amazing people. When I moved down to Toms River, CrossFit Freehold when I lived in Monmouth County, amazing people there. So yeah, it's just been an amazing journey. I have never not liked CrossFit. I'm not going to fall out of love with CrossFit, and I just continue to want to be better in this sport.
How'd you find the time to do CrossFit commuting 4 hours a day?
Well, my friend, when I was in Freehold, I was able to do morning classes, 6 a.m., still be on the 7 and change bus, get to the city in time. I worked out in the city, a CrossFit box there.
Which one?
CrossFit 212 was the name of the one that I did. Willie B took them over.
Oh yeah.
One of the locations took them over. Yeah. And I purchased some equipment from CrossFit 212. They had a couple boxes. Let's just say they downsized, and I offered them a decent amount of money for some equipment. And I turned my one-car garage in Monmouth County into a mini gym. And I've only been growing my gym. My wife hates me.
But you're going to a box these days.
Oh yeah. No, I coach at Apache and I go there. But on days that I have, too much work to do, or I'm not coaching and I don't go in, I'm able to do everything that we do in my 2-car garage now. And I have the equipment. It's a very nice setup.
You park on the driveway?
Oh hell yeah! No, the cars don't go in the garage. Are you kidding?
I mean, Jersey winter.
Yeah, as I made this joke in one of my classes, and they were like, "Man, you're bougie." I say, I just start the remote. I hit the push start. The car will warm up itself. I don't have to go outside, so it gets warm in the winter. So it's all good. Yeah, they laughed at me. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the journey like? You're busy,
Mm-hmm.
you're commuting, but you're still getting your workouts. When did you go from I like this thing, it's keeping me somewhat fit and healthy, to I want to become a level 1 trainer?
Just the fact of seeing the relationship with coach and athlete. Listen, you've said it yourself. It might have been with you and Fern, but what's the fascination of wanting to be a coach? I mean, we are mini level 1 teachers. I mean, seminar staff. I mean, people that come to us are looking for advice, just like when we go to an L1 or an L2 or an L3. But I don't know if you guys know this, Jay's an L4. So
Not many people know that. I don't
not
like
many
to
people.
talk about it on
Yeah,
the
I
podcast.
know you're very shy when it comes to that, but just to help people out and be able to teach and be able to talk to the fact, going through a lot of the progressions and being a shoulder to help out. That's where I saw it, and I knew that um, I could help, and I wanted to help, and I knew what my journey would be, and I've had to tweak a couple different things, but first and foremost for me has always been family. And I mean, my wife may not think it, but she doesn't listen to the podcast either, so I can say this. I mean, I think I do enough, and I try and help out enough, and family's always number one. But I'm able to squeeze in, my training, my coaching, my son with my time with my family, baseball, jiu-jitsu, soccer. It's crazy, don't get me wrong, but it just keeps me going and keeps me active.
So do you think you're going to wind up going back to an office?
So I hope there are no iHeartRadio listeners or people that work for iHeartRadio that listen to this, but
We don't.
yeah, I know. If I never went back into the office, it would be cool with me.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think I think the model will change, and now we're getting into business side. I think that the companies, I think not just iHeart, I think many companies have seen the fact that people can be successful and their company can be successful with not having to go into the office.
I mean,
So yeah,
not to, I'm very humble.
yeah, very
I don't like
humble.
to brag, but I mean, we started best hour of their day, but ultimately launched Affiliate U
Hmm.
amidst the pandemic. Same
Yeah.
with the coaches development.
Coaches
I've
development.
not
Yeah.
seen Fern in person since our last dropping in November 2019.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to see you, by the
No,
way.
it's better. We get along so much better this way.
So much better this way. And
Right.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
so I hope you don't, I mean, I hope obviously that your job continues to be lucrative and grow, but I also hope you don't have to go in because that 4 hour commute and you are, those 4 hours are way better spent for you learning from me. Let's just put it that way.
I think my company would agree too. And I hope that they, I hope that they would agree. I would still find a way to continue our lovely dialogue every Tuesday and Thursdays for guests. And
Who's been
you
your
know,
favorite guest? Who is your favorite guest that we've had on?
oh man, I mean, I would have to say I've loved, and I want this to be known, I've loved them all, but the way that Chuck Carswell spoke to us, and we've had amazing guests. I mean, Coach B, Denise Thomas. I mean, you've mentioned them. Amy Lyons, who I love. She was at my L1 seminar. She was one of the instructors there. Um, Chuck Bennington. I mean, the list is as tall as and long as you, right? So that was a joke. I
I
see.
get it.
Okay, you get it. But try the veal. I'll be here all week. But just the way that he spoke to us and how inspirational he was, and it kind of reminded me of in my business profession with then Clear Channel, a gentleman by the name of, again, Bob McCurdy was his name, who spoke to me.
Bob?
Bob McCurdy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bob. Yeah.
yeah, that guy. He spoke to. I mean, he was kind of a mentor of mine, and the way he spoke reminded me of very similar to the way that Chuck, spoke to it. And you could just the passion was just oozing from Chuck when he was, and it was just a normal conversation that he had with us, and just how into it he was, and just the knowledge that he was dropping was amazing. But again, all of the all of the guests have dropped so many different nuggets on us, but it's very hard to pinpoint. But if I had to answer that question, it would definitely be Chuck Carswell.
Well, I'm sure he'll be great. Glad to hear it. So, one of the things I want to get a better understanding is, we've made it very clear you've got a busy life and this isn't your primary source of income. Yet you're
Hmm.
still up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., coaching, working out. Fern and I often talk about what a good box owner, leader,
Hmm.
head coach needs to do to get buy-in from the rest of their staff and the part-time trainers such as yourself. But let's talk about it from the other perspective. What drives you? In other words, you're making, you're living from iHeartRadio, yet you
Hmm.
find time to be, and pay to be on coaches development calls, seek out higher education, your level 2 seminar and other seminars, find time to, what you're getting paid to coach is probably not really worth your time if you sit there and crunch the numbers. So what motivates someone like you? And for the listeners, what should they be doing? We get a lot of part-time coaches listening, and I think a lot of it's like, oh, I just want to be handed this opportunity, not realizing there's people like Jersey Tony putting in the work.
Mhm.
So what motivates you to do that? Why do you do it?
And it's a loaded question, but my short answer is just to become better.
But
What
what's the motivation to be,
grow?
if
It's to be able to be a knowledge, somebody who can help you explain what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's just in my DNA of always wanting to help and to understand. And I think you would agree with me with the fact that most of the people that are into CrossFit, that are into coaching, want to do it for to help others or to be better themselves. And we're a tight knit community, and coaches should always. I mean, your last guest, Castro, said it. I mean, you should always want to continue to grow, and it's just like in business, and it's just like in everything in life. I mean, if you stay sedentary, you're going to get lost, and everyone is going to want to become better than you, and or they should want to become better than you. But it's just who I am of wanting to, and it should be because as coaches, there are things that you may not know that I didn't know. I'm a neophyte of a coach, but with this group and learning, I'm. It's amazing how much I've learned throughout, things to pick up on, videos that I mean we go through. I mean we often joke that this is, and I love the new slogan that you have is 100% L3 pass rate. But I mean we are an L2 L3 seminar every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's pretty damn fun.
speaking of, when are you going to take your level 3?
The level two, thank you very much. I've had that conversation with you already, and you said wait about a good 6 to 8 months, and I'm going to be signing up for it for the back half of this year, because I would have started coaching in October of 2020, and I will sign up for it this year. Yeah,
So you've only
100%.
been coaching a year. So what is that
Hmm.
switch like? For example, I
Yeah.
take my level 1 in 2007 and was like, this is it. I'm doing this thing.
Hmm.
But I was already involved in coaching. I was a trainer. It was easy to implement. You're taking your level 1 and then immediately diving into coaches development
Hmm.
with the understanding like this isn't even my full-time gig.
No, no, I'm 100% aware of that, but
Is it your ambition to make it? Like, I don't see you leaving iHeartRadio. So where I guess my what I want to
Mhm.
understand from your perspective and also for the listeners is how does someone who's doing this part-time, 2 to 6 hours of coaching a week, find that motivation, and why do you find that? Obviously, like you said, I want to be better and I want to, but you also know if you never signed up for the coaches development, if you never took your level 2, your members don't really understand that. They don't really pick up on it. They're like, cool, Tony's here to coach at 5 or 6 a.m.
Yep.
Like, what intrinsically drives you?
It's as simple as just wanting to learn as much as humanly possible. I mean, I understand, not understood. I understand the fact CrossFit's hard. Uh, doing something so pretty as a snatch or a clean, there are so many different components that go into that. Getting it off the floor, bringing it to your shin, launch position, staying over the bar. And to me, if you don't know how to properly explain something, are you a good coach? If somebody asks you, why are we doing this, Jay? And if you can't intrinsically answer that immediately, what's wrong? I mean, again, there's going to be times, and even in business, and when I do it, and if I don't know the answer, I immediately say, and you said it too. You know what? I don't know that answer, and let me try and find out for you. But I want to be the best coach that I can be. And coming off of my L1, and I didn't know if I was, because I would the place that I'm at, Apache, they're amazing people, and they've taught me so many amazing things, and they continue to teach me so many different amazing things about CrossFit. Uh, I just love understanding. I love talking more. I love being a part of a group. And I hate to break the news to you, but you and Fern kind of know what you're doing,
A little bit.
which is a little bit, yes, humble
Mostly-
brag. Yes, mostly Fern. Yes. So to learn from you guys, and is with what you're offering, sign me up. You kidding me? 100% of the time, I would sign up, and I'll tell anybody out there right now. And I've commented on your post. If you're not doing this, you don't want to be a better coach. That's flat out.
And everything you're saying, I agree with. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to really understand the psyche of a level 1 trainer that
Mhm.
takes their level 1. Because let's be honest, you are the 1% of level 1 trainers, 99% of level 1 trainers. And if you're listening and you're someone like Tony, you're part of that 1%. Like, think
Mhm.
about every weekend at level 1s, there's 40 or 50 people there. How many of them are actually coming back to get better? A lot of them are like, oh, my boxer wants me to coach 2 times a week, paid for this, so I'm doing it. And then see in 5 years when I either have to revalidate or get, and we recognize that as soon as we see those people.
Mhm.
Do you get like weird looks or pushback from the other coaches or even from the owner?
100% not the case whatsoever.
No, none of
Um,
the other coaches are like somewhat like quietly like jealous or
I mean, listen, I'm not. You may not think this, but I'm not a braggadocious person by any stretch.
but they
I mean,
see the improvement.
I
Like
don't know if they do. I don't know if personally. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of them. Very good friends with a lot of them, and I don't know if they see they could from business. Another thing, and you've made mention of this as well. If you do something with confidence, that other person has no understanding of if they actually know it. As long as I say it with conviction, they think like, oh my God, he knows what he's talking about. The level of coaching, they may not be aware that I'm doing this class, 2 times a week for the past 6, 7 months. But I know that I'm doing it, and I want to be better
do
for
you
them.
do you notice a difference? Well, let me
Hmm.
when you took your level 1 in October, how quickly do you start? Like, are you showing up in the classes yours?
Yeah, I passed it, and then I was because I've been a part of Apache for a good number of years because my in-laws live in Toms River when we used to live in Monmouth County, Freehold, New Jersey. So I would do drop-ins at Apache. So I know the community very well. I know all of them very well. And they had an opening, and they were fortunate enough. I was fortunate enough for them to, you know, ask me to come aboard because they knew what my schedule was. And with the pandemic happening, I said I can do X, Y, and Z, and it worked out. But looking back, and you say that as well. I mean, look, you should want to look back at your old coach and say, man, you sucked.
Be
I
embarrassed. You should be
Yeah,
embarrassed.
you should be embarrassed. I mean, I'm more blunt than that, than you are, but I I see the progression because of what we do. I don't know if again, it was only 6, 7 months ago. Did I suck then, or should I be embarrassed of that coach? I'm not at that point where and this is where I will come across as a little bit confident. I don't know if I'm embarrassed of that coach yet. I'm still too new, but these are the things, and I guess to answer your question, these are the things that help you be less embarrassed of being a coach, um, doing coaches development, having a better understanding, listening to some of the conversations that we have with the guests that we have. The confidence that you're given, and you just want to. I know our group. I mean, I just want to coach a class right after one of our guests are on. I mean, just to implement some of the things that they're talking about, or and I've gone through.
So you live in Tom's River right
I
now?
live in Toms River, New Jersey.
You know Frankie Edgar?
I I mean, if you live in Toms River, you know of Frankie Edgar. I mean, that and Todd Frazier and Toms River Little League. I mean, we're kind of a big deal. Yes, Frankie Edgar. You see him around town. It's pretty funny. For those that aren't aware, I'll do the job that you're not doing. He's a he's a big MMA fighter. Has been a part of the MMA for Jesus Christ, 15 years or so.
At least, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
at
just
least, yeah,
UFC.
yeah,
But
UFC, yeah, UFC. And he's a Tom Zerber legend.
is that where do you train jujitsu where he does?
No, I train at a place called SKA Sullivan Kickboxing Academy, and it's Checkmat
So
is yeah.
talk to me about that. You go to CrossFit and you're like, I want to teach this. Do you
Mhm.
does someone like you have the same mentality when it comes to jujitsu? Like, do you show up and like, I want to teach this one day?
That no, because I go in and I shut up and I just listen. I mean, that came about with my son's had a birthday party with a kid, and it was at this place. It was a pretty cool birthday party, and I talked to the professor, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to see if my son." I asked my 8-year-old son. I had no idea that he would want to, and he enjoys it. And I didn't sign up for it right away, but I was like, "Wait, I'm here watching him." And then he asked me, he's like, "Hey, Daddy, I want you to do it with me." And I was like, "How am I going to say it?" But I said, "You have to ask mommy. I can't ask mommy to do another thing."
So
Um,
you have class at the same time?
yeah, it's
Oh, that's
so
perfect.
yeah, it's I was there. I mean,
So
and it's cool.
you're not taking the kids class, in other words, you're taking an adult class.
By the way, Kimosabi, it's everyone. It's
They let
6-year-olds.
the
Yeah, I mean, there's enough kids in the class. There's right at this point, there's like 4 kids that work together that are around 8 years old, 9 years old, um, and they do their things together. And I mean, Professor Bruno is amazing at making sure that everyone's doing their thing, and he'll work my son in with maybe a smaller dude or a smaller female at the time, just to go over positions and things of that nature. And then I started taking it 3 weeks ago. I was like, hey, this will help me build my engine for CrossFit. And I quickly found out that I'm not in jiu-jitsu shape when somebody's trying to murder you and make you tap out. I looked at the clock and I'm like, wait, we only do this for 20-second intervals. Why are we doing this for 3 minutes now?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the mistakes jiu-jitsu school makes. I've spoken about it. Like a lot of there's culture with a lot of sports, and jiu-jitsu is very much like, all right, done with our drills, 5-minute rolls.
Hmm.
And at any school I've been a part of, I try to get them to understand, like, hey, let's do some 30-second rolls and go fucking hard, right? Because
I would love that.
it's right. That's where you would shine. So I think there is a difference there. I think jujitsu is like, but it's a 7-minute match. We should roll for 7 minutes. I'm like, that just means neither of us are. It's no different than a CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
And some of the schools I've been at have coached a little bit or just lead the conditioning portion. I'm like, all right, 10 burpees, roll for a minute, and they get the difference. Like so you'll get there. I think as you're realizing that every kid should get involved in martial arts, whether obviously I think most, fights end up on the ground. Your kid should go to jujitsu. I have a really close friend who was telling me about his daughter, and I was like, she needs jujitsu. Like, yeah, she's hyperactive and she's beating up her little brother. And jujitsu and any good martial
Yeah.
art will teach you respect, and
Hmm.
you don't use this physical unless you need it, type of thing. So I'm really glad that you're doing it. Glad that
Yeah.
your son's doing it.
It's fun for sure.
What's your next goal as a coach? What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to own a box one day? Like, does someone in your position get comfortable saying, "Hey, I'm just going to continue to work to be eventually a level 2 and a level 3," or do you always want to own a box?
I've I don't know who I recently had this conversation with. I guess a friend of mine in regards to that, and they asked me about that because to the outside world that's not a part of CrossFit, or I mean, I do have friends that are outside of CrossFit. I mean, they think I'm fucking nuts, just with the amount of stuff I do, and juggling 3 kids and my wife is an angel on this planet, 2 dogs. I mean, very blessed.
Busy. You are busy. I know you make fun
I
of me when I complain about one baby. I don't
I
know how
blow
you
you
have.
up. I blow you up when you complain about the new love of your life and this one child you have. I laugh. I laugh at you.
I don't know how you have 3. It's
3, 3.
anyone that has more than one child.
Yeah, senile. Senile. Yeah, no. It's cool. Yeah. But it's I want to get my L2 this year. That's already, I'm going to sign up. I've already signed up for Chuck's gymnastics course. I want to do Coach B's weightlifting course next year. That's on the docket. And then, I mean, I haven't planned out that, L3, hopefully in 3.5 years, when I hit the 750 hours that are needed. I would love to do that. But my aspirations end up being own a gym. Yes, I would love to down the road, but I see where this sport is going. And I personally, I would love to, my goal is to work for CrossFit. I mean, it's to be a part of HQ somehow, some way, from a marketing side standpoint, from a business side standpoint. I see what they're doing, and I mean, you guys talk about it all the time with on Best Hour of the Day. The boom that is happening right now is obviously evident, coming out of pandemic, and people need help. I mean, that sumo deadlift high pull medicine ball clean podcast that you guys had was epic, and it just broke down everything that, yeah, sumo deadlift high pull isn't sexy, but it is so functional that, and when you explain it to people, and we have the Michael Scott theory of explain it to me as if I'm a 5-year-old. When you explain it to them as if they're a 5-year-old, you see the lights go on. And you're like, oh my God, when I pick up a grocery bag or when I pick up my child, I'm doing a sumo deadlift high pull. And I'm like, yeah, you are. So yeah, but and then down the road, I mean, I'm 40 now. I want fitness to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. And I'm not going to be working for iHeartRadio until I'm 80. I get that. I do love the company.
But not with your Chris retirement package.
Yeah, I know. But fitness and CrossFit. I mean, that's really down the road what I want to do.
What keeps you in check though? For a lot of level 1 trainers, they finish and they're like, all right, I know everything. And obviously part of it is just personality. But what do you think keeps you most grounded as far as sticking to the basics? In other words, appreciate the shout out about that episode. I think it's important. And for me and Fern, I think a lot of it is we're just so biased and believe in CrossFit because it has changed our life physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. But what keeps someone like you who's new? We joke around, but you're pretty fit. Like it'd be 100%. Easy for you to be like, sumo deadlift is stupid. I agree with all these people.
I don't.
I know you don't. I'm saying,
yes,
what prevents you from going down that rabbit hole or from wavering from the CrossFit methodology?
The fact that I don't know shit. So, I mean, again, it goes back to the fact that I want to be a student, and I want to understand and there may not be a lot of people out there like me. I hope that there are, because I know that they listen to your podcast, and I know they're listening to this episode right now, and you should want to be better. If anything, because our athletes deserve better. Your members deserve better. Maybe not all of them, but the good majority of them, they're in there waking up at 5 a.m. I know that the 5 a.m. coach or the 6 a.m. coach is waking up at 4:30 or 4:15. Well, guess what? That member is waking up at 5 a.m. as well to go to your class. The 6 o'clock member at night is busting their ass the entire day of work to go take your class. So show them the respect that they should get for wanting to be there, and don't be on your phone. Not that most coaches are, but have an appreciation of what you're doing, and that's just who I am. I want them, the members, to know that, and I want to become better.
I think as I'm hearing you talk, a lot of it is just your own personality. I would assume had you found jiu-jitsu at the same time you found CrossFit, it would be a very similar path for you. And so it sounds like to me, as a level 1 trainer, because I think a big challenge for whether you're level 1 or level 4 is remembering most people are new. Most people don't have any understanding of what we're doing. The knowledge is, even you who's 6 months after you're level 1, you're light years beyond that person that's new to the box. I love that expression of remembering you don't know anything.
Yeah. No, I'm and listening to a potential other person's podcast, MDV,
Shout
who
out to Andy. We can give it the
yeah,
intro.
yeah, the intro, yeah, I love that. I mean, you guys are my one and two, for sure.
But
On my
I mean, if MDB is listening, I'm one. He's two.
yes, yes, that I would agree with that. Um, the recent episode he had with his professor from the Brazilian
And
Jiu-Jitsu.
Planet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a white belt. I mean, go in there with the mindset of I don't know anything. I want to learn as much as possible. But in jiu-jitsu, that's 100% the case. And I go in there and I shut the hell up and just listen to Portuguese and I try and understand it as best I can.
They say things like this. Pow, pow, like pow.
You just try and keep up. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
Spanish and I'm having a tough time with my Portuguese professor, but I love him.
Do they start
Um,
on time?
yeah, oh yeah, 7:15. I mean, my son is in front of me, god damn it, because he's new. He has more experience. So I'm the last person in the line.
Funny. That's really funny. Yeah, but most jiu-jitsu, like, there's an expression of Brazilian time, right? And
Oh no,
but
they're on time. They're on time.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
they're
cool
on
that
time for sure.
they start.
But
That's funny that your son's.
yeah, my son's ahead of me. But for CrossFit,
Do you
I
like
know.
whisper to him at night, like, I'll choke you out. Like, I get you're in front of me at the school, but let's understand something. Let's
Let's
understand
understand.
who's the
I
black
told
belt in this house.
I told him I'm going to use the move where I sweat on him, and he didn't like that one. He goes, "Daddy, please don't do that to me. It was nasty." But
Nothing worse than rolling with a bald guy. People used to bitch about my long hair. The sweat doesn't leave my head. Bald people, it just trickles off their head into your face.
it's the along wait yeah, along Kim Polly.
Oh yeah, with Ben
See,
Stiller. Yeah.
yeah, you want to switch up on this guy? No, 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 no. I just learned how to play defense on this one guy. I'm good.
Funny story that you would understand, that you would get.
Uh huh.
I've been using the word ornery a lot with the baby.
So ornery. Yeah.
And my wife is like, "Where did you get that word? Like, I've never heard you say it." And I'm like, "The water boy.
Awesome.
The water boy is
Uh
where,
huh.
he's like, Mama says
Yeah.
alligators."
They're ornery. They're ornery.
Yeah,
They're medulla oblongata.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Adam Sandler.
But in CrossFit, I mean, I know a lot. Don't get me wrong. Even if I didn't get my L1 and want to be a teacher, I would think that compared to some others, I'm pretty proficient in the movements and understanding them. But could I explain it to somebody? Probably not. And uh, it's a passion of mine.
Love it.
Fitness. Yeah.
How'd you even find out about the coaches development group?
I was actually racking my brain thinking about that right
How we
now.
first met?
While,
Is that what you're
yeah,
thinking?
yeah. So it was a sitcom show, right? Yeah, exactly. I want to say I stumbled onto it on Instagram, brother.
I don't. I
Uh,
mean, we don't do any advertising or anything, so you must have just found the best
yeah,
hour or my
best
personal.
hour. Yeah, I mean, I truly do not remember how we first met. I'm sorry. I could tell you how I met my wife. I could tell.
How did you meet your wife?
Oh, that's episode 2, brother. I
All
mean,
right.
it's a fun story. Bottom line, I'll try and make it short and sweet. I got her number. We hung out. I called it again, and this was at the time of early cell phone days. She cut her number, and
She had
a
a
year.
burner phone. She had a burner phone as
I
well.
later found out why she cut. I won't go down that road. It's easily explainable, but whatever. A year later, I bump into her and at a place, and I say, "Hey, what happened?" She explained what happened, and I said, "Let's hang out this day." I purposely stood her up that day for what she did to me the year prior. And
Really? You
yeah,
purposely?
I purposely stood her up for what she did to me. But and then the next day, I was the bigger person. I explained what happened. I wish I saved those voicemails that she called on that day, and they progressively got worse and worse and worse, and more curses happened. It was funny. But then the next day, I explained what happened, and then ever since then, we've been best friends.
You say you explain what happened. You're basically saying I was an asshole because you stood me up
Yeah, no,
here.
because you stood me up and I
Right.
fell for you last year and I didn't want that to happen again. And I was spiteful and I stood you up on purpose. And then, yeah, and we hit it off. And yeah, we have 3 kids. This will be year 13 of marriage this year. And yeah,
That's, I
praise be.
mean, I stood Roz up, my wife, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Look
then
at
reached
that.
out the next
Wow.
day. And then reached out the next day.
You're kidding me, right? You're not messing with me right now.
No, I mean, so I'm trying to remember the entire story. You know, we had spoken, blah, blah, blah. She was living in Cayman. We were both in California for the
Uh-huh.
CrossFit Games one year. And we were supposed to get together one night. And I just didn't respond.
Yep.
And then not because I didn't want to, I was kind of talking to another girl and I was like trying to be good, like nothing good is gonna come from us
Nothing.
hanging out tonight. And we the next day I reached out. I was like, this is it. I only have another day here in California. I gotta get
Yeah.
in touch with and we hung
Wow.
out.
We're like Crockett and Tubbs, but I'm the taller one and the darker
We
one.
are. We are.
Yeah, this is
Exactly.
like two peas in a
Miami
pod,
Vice.
man.
Two Northeast guys just stand
Yeah.
women up.
The women up. Yeah. Oh God, that's good. Yeah.
So tell me one last thing. What's
Yeah.
one thing that has really transcended from the group to you as far as a coach and your coach's development? Not looking for a shout out for something
No,
I've
no, yeah, I
said,
got you.
but what's something that maybe a common theme? You know, I pick up on this in the group.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times, especially at first, everybody's like, no, 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 you don't get it. How do I teach the air squat? Like, how do I teach heels, knees, depth, etc.? And a lot of our conversations in the group get very conceptual,
Mm-hmm.
theoretical, and that's what I love. I love to, and I really love seeing,
Verbal, visual, tactile.
yeah, and I love seeing, you know, the coaches like seeing that kind of like light bulb of like, oh, I don't need to care about so and
Mm-hmm.
so cheating or hitting the RX button, or maybe they don't want to get below parallel. What's one thing that you've really taken from the group that's helped you develop?
Yeah, I'll give you. Great question. There you go. I'm sounding like Castro now.
You know, that was
Great
nice. When
question.
I did hear
That
that from
was.
Castro, it did make me
Yeah,
feel good.
it's you're damn right, man. Those were good questions. To answer that, I would end up saying just how common of a theme it is of getting questioned, really, and being able to teach properly. I think is the biggest thing that I've taken away from our coaches development, and seeing all of the, and this is again, another reason why all you listeners out there should definitely sign up and just don't take my spot, please. um
I'll never get
you
rid of you.
aw, you're gonna make a Puerto Rican blush. The fact is that all these coaches are going through these experiences in their different boxes throughout the country, throughout the world, that we have on our group, and it just better prepares you for that instance when that will happen. And it will happen to someone when they're having a double under issue. Well, what did you do for this? I haven't come up against that yet, but I'm sure I will. Or a deadlift. Just real world examples that you would not possibly see in your own box or when you're teaching, and just having that in your tool belt to say and reference back to, oh my God, we actually talked about this in our coaches development class, which is the case. I mean, it happens to me quite a bit where, there's Sally's doing a deadlift, and what do you need to look for that? And oh my God, we talked about that 3 weeks ago when we were going over teaching progression of a deadlift or of a thruster or something along those lines. And just that has been the consistent theme for me of just real life experiences, especially for an L1 coach or a newer coach that hasn't seen those practical examples applied or happen in front of you. Again, you've been coaching for quite a bit of years. Fern has been coaching for quite a bit of years. All the guests that we have, those people, you guys can easily call into your tool belt of, this is what happens, this is what you do, and you guys do. And you mentioned that a ton on our development class, and this is why we love it. But for some of the newer coaches that are on there, I mean, we have all kinds of levels of coaches. But for me, having that real life examples that happen.
I love it because I think for so many, like you're suggesting, once they finish their level one, that's really it. And I think one thing, especially the fact that we started our calls during the pandemic where there wasn't a lot of many boxes were closed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember hearing from you and a few other people, like, this has really motivated me at a time where I wasn't motivated. And I think if you're listening to this and you're a level one trainer, you're not getting feedback from your box owner, from other coaches. you need to surround yourself with other like-minded people that want to develop. And that's what, regardless of whatever you're doing, right? That's
Mhm.
why you show up to jujitsu. It's why you show up to the development calls. It's, why we do a lot of things. You need to surround yourself with people that push you forward.
Yep.
And luckily for me, I've created a group that I'm kind of the leader of. Like, I don't know if I am, but you guys push me forward. Like, I've told you guys this in the group. I say it out loud. Like, I really look forward to it. It's fun. It reminds me of why I do this thing and
Mhm.
why I've never had a real job and, never had a 2-hour commute. 12 minutes was like, man, I remember when I opened my third box and it was like a 30-minute commute to
Oh
start.
my God. I
I'm
laugh at
like,
people like
this
that. Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And this was
God,
before like podcasts. Like now I'd be like, I'll just listen to, Joe Rogan or
yeah.
iHeartRadio. So
Or your own podcast. You can
I
listen to
did
that.
it. I
Yeah.
did. I don't listen to my own. That's one thing. People will like quote something Fern or I have said, and I'm like, and where did I say that? I don't. We're just talking.
I love the fact that when I'm listening to your podcast and I try and I'm yelling at whatever I'm listening to, I'm like, you don't know the answer to that? Like, you don't know the movie that it was from? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
So I do
that's
that all the time.
that's what we do. But Tony, I want to let you get back to work. Employee number 4 at iHeartRadio has a lot of obligations. You got
A whole
3
lot.
kids, which by the way, I've not seen. So, maybe they're at school. Are they at school?
One is getting put to sleep right now. She got fed, Julia, the 2-year-old. Jackson is the 8-year-old, and he will be getting home from school in probably about 25 minutes. And then Vivian, the 6-year-old, is on the same bus, and they will be home at 1:30. So when we do our normal classes at 1 to 2, and I have no coverage, you'll see me standing up sometimes, and I'm looking out my window to make sure that the bus, when it
Ah,
comes, so
that
that's
makes
what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I have to run upstairs to make, because thank God the buses care. They want an adult to
yeah.
let the kid in. It's not like a latchkey kid anymore. They
That's
want
how
an
we grew
adult.
up, right?
Yeah, they didn't care. They just let you out.
I got hung up at the bottom of the street, like not
Yeah,
even at the house. I had to walk home. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I have to go upstairs and wave to the bus driver, and so that's what I do during sometimes our coaches development that I'm running around.
Well, I think as a new father, for me, one thing I've really grown to appreciate and respect are other good parents, and I think that's part of why
Hmm.
the people in the group I've bonded with the most, like you and Christian, are not only good human beings, and maybe they're one and the same, but you're good parents, and you can see that in other people, and you're like, okay, he's a good like. You have to be a little selfless, and I don't think it's any different than coaching. Like you have to be willing to give up your time, your effort, your
Hmm.
energy, put your, CrossFit Games aspirations on the back burner. And
Do I?
no, you don't have
I'm
to.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes. No.
You
I
see
listen.
my strain low. Trust me, it's not because of by choice. It's because I'm taking care of the baby.
Then I could say, what are you doing the other 23 hours of your day, my friend?
Exactly. Well, Jersey Tony, it's been great talking to you. I will see you tomorrow in the coaches development group.
Yep.
I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a great member of the group. And I look forward to having round 2 where we find out about how you went from standing this beautiful woman up to 3 kids.
Yeah. Can't wait.